Hey, my friends and family, welcome to a new video. Like I promised last time, as I'll be coming out with a new video, actually titled The Trade Relationship Between the Fulanis and Dahomey, or Dahomeys of old, and the trade relationship between the Europeans, which are the slave masters, and the Fulanis and slash the Dahomeys. So we know that the Dahomeys are very great nations. Even the Fulans too, they are great nations, they are big nations of old. So, but first we're going to start from the Dahomeys. So Dahomeys are people that came out from the upper side of Egypt of old. They were living in Egypt, and through the fall of Ramses, they all came out from right there and seems to migrate to between the different kind of country, but mainly populated country like Senegambia, and from that place it begins to split out until they get to what they call the West Africa, and hidden from the West Africa and spread himself over like about 17 to 21 countries in whole of Africa today, and they made their way into what they call Sokoto nation, because Sokoto was not part of Nigeria. It was a nation of its own before, but as soon as they made themselves into that place, they begin to build their enterprise. Like I tell you, now you're going to see the trade relationship between the Fulans and the homies. So coming back to Dahomey, Dahomey is a very great country, big nations of old. It's not even a country, it was a nation of its own. So Dahomey people are so very strong people, especially there are females today, which a lot of books have been written about them, which are called uh, the Amazonians. They're called the Amazonians. So the females are warriors too. They train them special squad soldiers, which are Amazonians. So what it means is that when the homie defeats your country or defeats your nation or country either pay tributes to the king of the homie. So they send one of the female warriors to be in charge of your country to collect the tributes and bring it then to them. That's how it all went further when Oyo Empire was also existing at that time, and from that point, Oyo Empire took over and was doing their own trade. But you know what? Dahomey defeated Oyo Empire, and Oyo Empire was actually saying paying tribute to them. So it's a video for another day, but it's a lesson to learn. So while we learn, we go from learning to learning. So this is the issue right there. So Dahomeys had this relationship of building their nation, and the building their nation has to come through slaves. So they take slaves, kidnap people, take over because they have a machineries of soldiers. They kidnap soldiers, they kidnap people, they kidnap a lot of people, nations close to them. They kidnap them, they turn them to slaves, they destroy those nations, they take all these prisoners and turn them to slaves. So at the time came when the Europeans was buying slave first. The Arabs started buying slave first from them. Then the Europeans started. When the Europeans started buying slaves, so Europeans was one of the high merchants of people that buy slaves, because Dahomey used to give them a tons of ships of slaveries, give them a bunch of people like a whole full ship of slaves. So at the time, the Europeans actually forgot the time frame of when they should come. So they give them time to be able to put our slaves together to enable them guard these people and sell them to them. So the homies are willing to sell those people to them for war, war materials, weapons, and other stuff too, like mirrors and glasses and wine, champagnes, and stuff like that. But mainly, they actually sold to enable them get uh, weapons for fight and war. And at the same time, the Fulanis also trade with the Dahomeys, because the Dahomeys have more, and the Fulanis also come down and buy slaves from them, from Dahomeys. So you see, Dahomeys are ruthless people. They like doing a lot of merchandise and they don't care. They just doing their own thing. They had their own bad side too. Like every nation already do had their own bad side, but they were trading with them, selling slaves to them too, to the Fulanis. And the Fulanis were selling the slaves also to the Europeans. So at the time when the Dahomeys decide to cut shoulders with the Europeans, which are so Europeans start dealing more on the Fulanis because they felt that the Fulanis can be more faithful than the Dahomeys. Because at this point, the Dahomeys have started building argument. I guess new king has come in and a lot of stuff being changed. But the Fulanis are willing to play part with this with the Europeans. So Europeans decided to divert their attention to the Fulanis, understand that the Fulanis are not that too brilliant, but at the same time they can help them build their building. So at that point, Oyo Empire too used to buy slaves from them, and they used to do trade merchant between the Oyo empires and the and the Dahomeys. Not until Dahomeys was broken and shut up. We all know how Dahomey was broken today. Dahomey was over like 17 nations. Like they were broken by the French for over 17 countries. So even the part of the Ghana you know today is not even actual Ghana. If you Google the old map of 1842, you find it's not Ghana. That location of Ghana is not even Ghana. So part of this land are Dahomeys, all the way to Senegambia. So they all share those land. Mali, Niger, Benin Republic, Togo, part of Ghana, Lagos, all those areas are Dahomeys Island. They are Dahomeys. You understand? So we can't dive in too much. It's for you to wait to learn it. So you go do your own research and figure stuff out and do your own research. So going back to what we're saying, this is how now the Fulans, knowing who they are and knowing where they came from. So the Fulans are the sons of Put. And we can go through into the Bible and see in Genesis chapter 10 and Genesis chapter 10 verse 6. I just give you a read reference right here so you can go also do your research. But I'm going to give you a bunch of Bible verses so you see where these people are coming from. So the Bible says in Genesis chapter 10 verse 6, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. So now we know who Canaan is. And Canaan actually, today, the Egyptians, and also part of Libyans. And also they live also in the land of Ethiopia today. So now coming back to the sons of Ham. So Ham, you know who Ham was. Ham, the father had three sons, which is Ham, Japheth, and Shem. After the flood, after Noah came out from the flood, they had these two sons. This is his children right there. So the son had begot different children. So one of the sons that called Ham has children. So which is Shem, Cush, Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. So he had four sons. So going by these, so if you go to the next chapter, you'll see what the says right there. And the sons of Cush, Seba and Havilah, and Saber and Rumen, and Sabershus, and sons of Ramon, Sheba and Debal, and Cush begot Nimrod, and he begot mighty ones of the earth. So we can't go into all that right now, but I'm trying to give you a different reference. But let's go to another chapter in the Bible, says the book of Jeremiah, and see what Jeremiah talks about the sons of Puts. So he tell you what I said before, that they all spread abroad and spread out everywhere. And they built cities and built their own entities. So go to Jeremiah chapter 46, 46 and verse 9. And let's see what it says right there. So 46 verse 9 says, come up ye horses, and run ye chariots, and let the mighty men come forth. The Egyptians, the Ethiopians, and the Libyans that